Another big vote that happened right out of the gate, and as a matter of fact, the very next day, is the Value Them Both Amendment. So last year they tried to pass this thing, and it failed by 4 votes in the House. One of them was the guy I replaced, Jeff Pittman, who's now our senator. So I wanted to take a minute to talk to you about what we actually did and what we didn't do, because there's a lot of people saying we did things that we didn't do. What the Value Them Both Amendment does is reverse a Supreme Court decision from April of 2019. In April 2019, the Kansas Supreme Court was hearing a case on a dismemberment abortion bill that had been passed by the legislature but had been challenged in court. When they rendered the decision in April 2019, they basically said that there is a right in the Kansas Constitution under the clause that says life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That clause means that there's an inalienable right to an abortion in this state. That's what they said. I disagree. I disagree that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness means you can have an unlimited abortion, because effectively what it did was it made the bar, if it's an inalienable right to have an abortion, the bar for any restrictions on that are just like the bars on restrictions against your speech, or the bars against your restriction to go to church or peaceably assemble, right? That's what they said. Abortion is unequal with your freedom of speech, right? And so the standard was so high that any restriction on abortion has to be tested against that highest standard. And so we're not talking about we're not talking about bans on abortion. What we're talking about is your teenager can't have an abortion without talking to the parents first or getting the parents' permission. Taxpayers shouldn't have to fund an abortion, because a lot of taxpayers don't believe that abortion is morally wrong. There should be some basic cleanliness standards in an abortion clinic that's going to perform this medical procedure. Those are restrictions that are already on the book. And every one of those restrictions, I'm going to say this twice because it's really important. Every one of those restrictions that's on the books right now has an exception for in cases of rape, incest, or the life of the mother. Every one of those restrictions. So all this amendment does is vacate that Supreme Court decision and go back to where we were in April 2019, where me and you and every Kansan has the right through their legislature to place these common sense restrictions on the abortion industry that even a lot of pro-choice people believe. Even a lot of pro-choice people believe that a teen shouldn't be able to just walk into Planned Parenthood and get an abortion and their parents never know about it. And I happen to agree with that. This amendment just takes us back to April 2019 to protect all of those restrictions that are on the books. Because if we don't pass this amendment, and because the House passed it 2 weeks ago or a week ago, and the Senate passed it on Thursday, 2/3 majority. So now it's going to go on a ballot, and everybody in this room, if you choose to exercise your right to vote, you're going to get the chance to vote personally on whether this becomes a constitutional amendment. And if it doesn't get 50% plus 1, then it doesn't matter what the legislature thinks. It's not going to be an amendment to the Constitution. And in the future, if the legislature wants to make some restriction on the practice of abortion that makes sense, like reinstating the dismemberment abortion ban, I think it was New York or it was Massachusetts, I think, just passed a law that you can have an abortion up to the moment of birth. I personally think that should be illegal, and so I think maybe we should have a law on that. So some legislator in the future may want to pass that law, and if they get a majority vote, they can place that restriction on the practice of abortion. Jeff Pittman, in the paper today, there's a story about it. He said, well, the reason I didn't vote for this is because it didn't protect exceptions for rape, incest, or the life of the mother. Well, that doesn't really make sense, because all those restrictions are on the books, and all those exceptions are already on the books, and all this law does is protect the laws that are on the books. I didn't vote to ban abortion. I voted to give you the right to vote on this amendment, and there's nothing in the language of this amendment that says anything about banning abortion. the U.S. Supreme Court has primacy over the state of Kansas. And for now, Roe v. Wade is the law. And so if we had gone up there and we had tried to pass a ban on abortion, even if we had made it a Kansas constitutional amendment, it would have just got struck down, and we would be right back where we were with this Kansas Supreme Court decision.